Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be doing the Synastry chart between Tom Cruise and his daughter Suri. Um, it's actually really sad when I went through their whole compatibility chart, and it's just proof that money doesn't buy happiness. And this situation to me is just heartbreaking. So if you have a dad that you get along with and there's a lot of love and devotion, be thankful. So I'm going to get started. His Sedna conjuncts her sun, 0 degrees, the tightest orb that you can possibly have. You don't want bad asteroids or negative energies from planets touching your sun or your moon, most important parts of a compatibility chart between two people. So in this case, his Sedna has to do with betrayal. It's in the 6th house, and that has to do with work, and her sun is in the 2nd house, which has to do with money. So the translation of this, betrayal towards her, work, money, and her sun is in Aries, and Aries is ruled by Mars, and his Mars, is conjuncting her Dolores, 2 degrees. Dolores has to do with pain and suffering. So that's what he brings to her so far. Her Atropos conjuncts his sun 1 degree. Her Atropos is in the 5th house, that rules children, and his sun is in the 9th house. And the 9th house rules religion, law, and long distance travel. So her Atropos conjuncting his sun, that means that there's a transformation here, or it could also mean endings. Her Chiron, Nessus, Lacrimosa, conjuncts his IC and his south node, 0 degrees and 2 degrees. This is a double whammy right here. You don't want painful or negative energies conjuncting your IC or your south node from the other person, because that's the energies that you will receive. And the IC is a really important angle in a synastry chart. It's on the cusp of the 4th house, which rules the home and the family, and whatever it touches your IC will hit you or affect you deeply because it's where your inner child lives, and it also happens behind the scenes. Chiron has to do with pain. Nessus has to do with abuse, and Lacrimosa has to do with pain and suffering. So that's what she brings to him. Her Chiron is in the 12th house, natally for her. So she's got a lot of hidden pain that she hides from people, and it's a subconscious pain. It's in the sign of Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. Now, his Uranus conjuncts her Typhoon, 0 degrees. And Typhoon has to do with overwhelming psychological effects that's hard for you to handle. So Nessus has to do with abuse, and it's in an air sign, so I don't think that there's not physical abuse or verbal abuse. It's really just a painful sort of abuse that he gets from her pain and suffering. Her Uranus conjuncts his Chiron in the 4th house, which rules the home and the family, 3 degrees. So there's pain in this relationship on both sides, and it's written in the stars. I'm just the messenger. His Chiron and Fink conjuncts her Venus, 3 degrees. Chiron has to do with pain. Fink has to do with disloyalty. And it's conjuncting her Venus, 3 degrees, so that's what he brings to her. Pain through disloyalty. His Jupiter and Lacrimosa conjuncts her Venus, 1 degree and 0 degrees. more pain and suffering. Now, since it's being conjuncted by his Jupiter natally, the largest planet in the solar system, that will magnify whatever it touches. So there's a lot of pain and suffering that he brings to her. Now, where is this pain and suffering coming from? Well, I will explain further. Her Nemesis and Niobe conjuncts his Venus 2 degrees. Nemesis has to do with enemy-like energies, and Niobe has to do with the loss of the family or the loss of children, traditionally. Her Nemesis and Niobe is in the 6th house. That has to do with work, and his Venus is in the 10th house, which has to do with his career. So there's a loss here, and by her towards him, and it has to do with his career and his work-related issues. And she is not happy about his career and the fact that he's gone all of the time. His Fantasia and Eleutheria conjuncts her North Node 0 degrees. The North Node is a really important part of a Synastry chart. Whatever asteroids or planets conjunct that from the other person, that will be the theme of the relationship for you. Now, his Fantasia has to do with fantasy, and Eleutheria is a freedom-loving asteroid. So the theme of the relationship for her with him is he's gone all of the time, and he's involved in this fantasy of, making movies, and that's his career. Now, his Fantasia in Eleutheria is in the 5th house that rules children. So he needs freedom, and there's a fantasy involved that she gets from him. And since Eleutheria is in the 5th house, he needs his freedom from her. His Bellerophon, Psyche, and Lamia conjuncts her vertex 1 degree. The vertex, another very important angle in a Synastry chart. Whatever touches that will affect you deeply. So Bellerophon has to do with accidents that result in disabilities, or it can also mean long-distance traveling. Psyche is love, passion, and soul, and Lamia has to do with extreme grief. So what does he bring to her? He brings her love. I have no doubt that he doesn't love her, but there's a lot of extreme grief that she gets from this relationship, and it has to do with either his disability in expressing his love for her, or that he's gone and he travels a lot. And as I move forward, there's other indications that coincide with the previous interpretations of these asteroids that I just said. The more you get into a Synastry chart and you put the pieces of the puzzle together, it forms a picture. Now, her Saturn conjuncts his moon and his North Node. His Saturn conjuncting his North Node by her 5 degrees, and her Saturn conjuncting his moon 2 degrees. Saturn conjuncting moon in a parent-child relationship, this can result in estrangement, because usually there's restrictive emotions by the Saturn person imposed on the moon person. So there's a coldness here and detachment, and it can result from financial either instability or financial desires to make the family work. Now, her Saturn is in the 6th house, and that has to do with work, and his moon is in the 9th house. That has to do with religion. So she has an emotionally depressing effect on him, and there's an emotional coldness that he feels, and it can't be denied. It's not either one of their faults, because it's written in their Synastry chart. Now, though her Saturn is conjuncting his north node, 5 degrees. So the theme of the relationship for him is she has a restrictive influence on him, and she's can be hard on him and cold as well. Now, his Aletko asteroid conjuncts her moon Pluto in Sagittarius. Aletko has to do with punishing someone, being mad at them, and it's conjuncting her moon, which is not a good aspect to have, especially with parents and children. This is just unfortunate. But she does have a backup, fortunate gift, and that's her mother. And I will explain. But before I explain that, I have to finish this aspect. So Aletko, it's in his second house. That has to do with money, and it's conjuncting her moon. This is a very strong effect on her. I think that she feels that she's being punished, not only because of the money situation that he makes and that he's gone, but her moon and Pluto are in Sagittarius, and that's ruled by Jupiter. Sagittarius rules religion, and Jupiter rules children and freedom. So now we have this punishment towards her for, from what I see, it has to do with her freedom and choices in religion. The Pluto, this is really powerful because in your natal chart, the moon represents the mother. And since Pluto is conjuncting her moon, her mother has a very powerful connection with Suri, and she's very protective towards her, and she wants to keep her isolated from negative energies, drama, and crazy situations. So she wants to protect her spiritually, since the moon is in the sign of Sagittarius, that's ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter also rules children. So Suri has a really good mom that protects her from all of the Scientology stuff and negative influences, and she shelters her, so that's great. Her Jupiter is in the 9th house, I think I said that, which rules religion, and his Jupiter is in the 5th house that rules children, and the 9th house rules religion. I know, I think I said that, but I didn't forget. I'm just repeating myself just so you can follow along and see how all of this comes together and works symbiotically in the whole chart. His Bluet and Vertex conjuncts her IC, 1 degree and 2 degrees. And Bluet has to do with, it's self-explanatory. He blew it. Whether he still comes around, I don't know if they still have a relationship, but I would say that it's strained and fractured. Now, what else do I have? They don't have any moon aspects. Really important part of a synastry chart. In order to have a soul-to-soul, heart-to-heart connection, they don't have any of those. However, they do have his moon trines her Mercury, 0 degrees. So that's a nice backup. So that's kind of like, it helps to have some sort of communication, and that they can come maybe to an understanding. His Venus trines her moon, 4 degrees. That's nice as well. So there's love. Like I said before, there is love, but there's a lot of obstacles and challenges in this father-daughter relationship. And I hope that they can maybe come to some sort of agreement that it's not so painful for either one of them. So on that note, I am through with this interpretation. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will be back again for more synastry charts. And if you're interested, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you again soon.